Like that would be a fantastic 3DS title though. Nintendads instead of Nintendogs.
Yeah.
So you get little dads just walk around the barbecue, and like you can in the backyard you can put down a little barbecue. You can put a little cooler somewhere on the side, and just like you can, I don't know, rub their bellies. Like I don't, what else is dad like?
Well, yeah, there'd be lots of naps. There'd be like an energy meter that just like slowly drains
You put a
stress
ham.
levels.
You can put a hammock. You can.
Yeah. Yeah, you could just like swing the DS back and forth. Lull the dads to sleep.
If you want to get them upset, you just slowly raise the volume on the DS. They're like, "Hey, what? I gotta pay for that."
I think we're on to something.
Yeah, Nintendads. Let's go. It's the latest title for the now defunct Nintendo DS.
Yeah.
We're only 10 years too late.
Ah.
Yeah. All right. We are populated across the globe. Let's get into it because we are live. Okay. By the way, we are absolutely going to say the line this time at the beginning.
Are we?
Gonna
I don't
nail
know. I have doubts.
it. If we don't, after saying it, that'd be the worst part. The adult beverages are poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. Oh, wait, I guess I got to say my name.
My name's
All right. I was so ready for the second part. I didn't even do the first part.
It was good though.
I like it. All right, let's say it one more time. The adult beverages are poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old.
And in this show, we like to show that just because you became a dad,
Does not mean it's game over.
and especially not if you are gaming dads who run a podcast and have slowly started to accrue some benefits. Guys, we have some big news that we're super excited to share. Which is it humble bragging, Jeff? I'm not sure how exactly we'd phrase this.
I'm not sure. Can we have some sound effects? Like I think that would. Pew pew pew.
Blah, 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 blah. So peek behind the curtain, everybody. As Jeff and I, as we like to say every single week, we appreciate you gaming dads so much for listening and tuning into us. Try to run a small but mighty show. I've had an absolute blast these 7+ years. Recently, we've been invited to a few Nintendo events. You might remember we invited back to, I think it was Dad's Night In
Yeah.
of gaming with Nintendo, and this is where they had us for an event with Splatoon. We recently got an out of the blue email. And like, Jeff, what was your reaction when because you saw it first, and your reaction in Messenger was just fantastic.
Well, it was one of those ones like, oh my god, oh my god. we got a new game, Trevor. Why don't you check the email, Trevor? We got 2 game codes.
So very graciously, we were sent a couple copies of Super Mario Wonder, which
Yes.
the brand new title, which is just, we're so incredibly thankful for it. Like, that's so exciting to receive it. And the reason I did want to I'm jokingly kind of trying to peek behind the curtain here about it. We're going to be talking about it in spoiler, like, it's fantastic. But I did want to get it up front that we were sponsored in a sense. We were given some like review codes basically. Why I feel comfortable reviewing it is the fact that we have received other game codes, Nintendo and otherwise, and it was for some games that we didn't like. And those games, rather than just add some more negativity into the game space, we decided if we don't like it, we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, and even some games, I will say that we've approached it in saying that if it's a game we've received to review and we liked it, or sorry, we could appreciate it. Like, you know what, this
Yeah.
game is well crafted. There's a whole segment of people who will really like this game, right? We definitely talk about it still because it could just be not my bag. That's fine. But we have received codes where it's just like, this isn't very good. We don't think it's a really good fit, so we're just not going to talk about it. And, you know, this game obviously is quite the different one. Like how have you felt in receiving gaming review codes being a dad gaming podcaster?
Well, one, it's exciting to see what comes through the door, and you're like, wow, I never expected to be, day one on some of this stuff, right? Because it is quite an investment. I think we've talked about that Nintendo value. But it also, I think, just to kind of touch on what you were saying, that we're only going to talk about the things that have a place within the gaming dad life, and I think that's where I'm coming from. Like if it's good and I see a place within, some dad out there can share this with their kid, or even have a gaming experience with their kid with some game that we've received. Absolutely, I think we'd recommend, or at least say, hey, we played this game, we tested it, we understand it, and we can kind of recommend it and have it like in an authentic way like that. With the games that we didn't quite hit off with, we'll kind of set aside for a bit. Like you said, I don't think we need to add to any negativity, but it's nice to receive things after so many years of being on the air. Just saying, we're getting recognized out there.
Yeah. It's humbling. It's certainly, it's just, we're vastly appreciative for it. So it's just what, like I said, before we got off the hop, we wanted to mention it as a peek behind the curtain, because so many of you have been along with us for such a long time on this journey. So it's kind of a fun happenstance. So Super Mario Wonder. This game is legitimately just fantastic. I am talking, my wife was upset because my sons and I were laughing so hard that it woke her up early on Saturday morning. Like, Wonder is a fantastic title for it because, and like Jeff, I want to make sure I stop talking because I could go on forever and I really want to hear what you're saying. But for Wonder, I found was an absolutely phenomenal title. You never know what's coming around the corner. They have taken the very tried and true Mario formula that everybody loves. They have paid it every possible respect, and it is exactly what you expect. How many more times can I say expect?
Yeah.
but it's exactly what you come to know and love. So they have not ruined that formula, but in so doing, they have found so many constant, amazing, unique ways to make it fresh and interesting and just off the wall, zany, mile per minute, just laughing fun. I have not seen my kids engage with a game this hard in quite some time. Like, where were you and your kids with it there, Jeff?
Yeah, my 10-year-old was extremely excited to get this game. Not so much my 13-year-old. My 13-year-old was like off in their other Roblox world. But I will give this game praise is that my 10-year-old was home sick today, unfortunately. Like they're fine, but usually they would go to YouTube or they'd watch a movie or they'd go into Roblox or Minecraft. They wanted to take the Switch and go ahead in Mario Wonder, which says something. That is like a big, big plus to this game, that it's kind of like taken a spot away from their usuals so that they can move ahead and see what's next. Because I had very much the same experience that you did, and we'll use the same words as you did. Like, it is full of whimsy. It is just something that is totally vibrant, colorful, like everything just bounces and vibrates, and you have no idea what's going to come next. And like, the wonder seeds that they put through the levels, like you have no idea what dimension you're going to go into. I mean, Mario is an elephant. Like, who would put that as like one of the things that Mario would ever be? And it's just something like that that's not so serious, doesn't take itself seriously. And I know Mario games can, typically be like that, but coming from like, I think the last game we played was Mario Odyssey. You could tell kind of what the level makeup was. This one, you have no idea. You go into it, every level is completely different and amazing. And what sealed the deal for us was like even just level 2, where it was the song level and the piranha plants sing. Like, that was amazing. We were just smiling the whole way through. It was just fantastic. So I'm ready. Like, this game is absolutely for any family, like any age. I had a blast with it, and so is my 10-year-old.
Yeah, and they really could. What is impressive about it is they could have simply released another Mario game.
Yeah,
absolutely. It could have been a slight twist. Bowser shows up, steals Peach, couple levels, Goombas, off you go. Ice World, Lava World, Sky
Sell
World.
millions. Absolutely, they could have just slapped Mario on any game.
And the amount of effort that they've put into this title is just uproarious. Like, and the risks they took too. There's this one that both my son, like I had to pause because both my sons were on the floor laughing, and we kept dying. It's like, guys, we got to keep going here.
Yeah.
But at one point, you take a flower, and then this train, and it's going to sound ridiculous. You have to play this game to understand it. Jeff will know exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You get this mystical flower that kind of changes the entire world, and then a train of rhinos comes flying up out of the corner that you then proceed to ride through the rest of the world, and you're jumping and you're dodging, slamming into things. And all nonstop, just never ending, wild, fun things that are happening in this game. Like I've never seen such variety in a Nintendo game.
Absolutely. And even just it's so lively. So I know that I did a little background research on just why does it look the way it does. And they really poured a lot into the animation system because they wanted to kind of go from where the Mario movie and all the, the little nuance to Mario's face and all the other characters. And that's what I realized is that every character and even the enemies and stuff all have like almost facial expressions and little mannerisms that they do that just adds to the life of the world. And I couldn't stop just like just staring at the level in front of me. And there's no timer. That's one thing to mention. There's no timer, so you could just take it all in.
It is super dad and kid friendly. That's a really great point because what they introduced is a couple. I think the last one or even two ago was the other characters, and the characters act as a difficulty setting because in this one, Yoshi, I think Toad is slightly easier. So Mario and Peaches are just normal players. Toads I think are slightly easier. I may be off on that one, but you get the sense. And then Yoshi's can't get power-ups, but they can't get hurt. They can
Right,
get
Yoshi and Nabbit.
Yeah, and then a Nabbit I think is like the absolute easiest. So they've built this entire they inbuilt to the game this like whole leveling system where you, the gaming dad, can like choose just a normal Mario character to have your experience, but take along your younger one by giving him one of these kind of nerfed characters. And for instance, the Yoshi also has the extra jump ability.
Yeah.
So if they miss their jump, he gets to do his extra little wow, and like and fly up there. And just the fact that exists, there's no timer, as you said, which I found to be a fantastic entry. I hated the timer because, and especially when they put such care into the world like this, you want to stomp around and kind of check some stuff out and find other secrets or whatever. So that was a phenomenal entry. I'm glad they weren't, dogmatic about that type of one.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Just something that results. The sum of all the parts end up being just so phenomenal.
Yeah, and I'll speak to a lot of just the world itself. So like my 10-year-old usually has a relatively short attention span to some of this stuff, and to have them engaged and want to explore the world because it's like partial open world. When you get to the map, you can kind of choose the next course that you want to do. And they wanted to do every single one before moving on. And usually they'll try to speed run or race to the end because they just want it completed or whatever. But this one, they were actually searching around. They wanted to do every level. They wanted to find all the things. So I can see this one being, sticking around in one of those top spots for a bit.
Yeah, I think the last thing I'll mention, I think it might be the first case of, well, that's not quite true. I was going to say it's the first time a character's been voiced, like actually like voiced. And there's all these little flowers throughout the levels.
Yeah.
As you're walking by, it's like, I believe in you. It's like, I don't know how I got here either. It's like legitimately funny.
Yeah.
Like, I was like laughing when these little guys are talking the whole time. It's hard to, I am blathering because it's just, I'm so happy it exists. So happy it exists and so happy that you can see a company that has been known for games and family gaming does not rest on its laurels, does not allow their success to go to their head, and just churns out a title like this that is so friendly, warm, happy, and fantastic.
Yeah, again, I will applaud Nintendo for taking risks too, right? Like a lot of the stuff they absolutely did not have to do at all. Again, like we said, you slap Mario in any game, make a bunch of levels from Mario Maker, and that's it. But no, they took risks with this one, and they really paid off, and I'm glad that they do, and they keep pushing that a little bit forward. And again, my kids are totally engaged. My 10-year-old loves it. I love it. We both have different profiles that we move ahead in, and one we play together. But I'm glad that also that you can kind of hop in, hop out wherever. And there's like an online component that I haven't explored and stuff like that, where it's all there for you. You don't have to earn anything. I will say one last thing. The badges that you earn in the game can totally change up how you approach a level, which I find like a cool, like not added difficulty, but something that you can explore yourself. Like, so like the double jump or something, you can just flip on that badge and take on a previous level that you never did, and maybe find a secret because now you have this badge equipped. I'm like, that's kind of neat. That's kind of a cool power up.
For Mario Veterans, there's a badge. So Jeff is talking about you as the characters, you can unlock these badges, which gives you an extra ability. Like he said, a double jump, a wall jump, a parachute hat.
Yeah.
One of my favorites is the dolphin ability. Which,
Oh yeah.
which takes one of the long worst parts of most of these scrollers, which is the water level.
Yes.
It makes it kind of fun because then you just like blast through like a dolphin. So you
Yeah.
approach it, put in the badge, you're gonna have a much better time with it.
Yeah, I like it.
Taking risks, paying off, and my goodness, obviously we thank Nintendo wholeheartedly for the opportunity to review it. And the enthusiasm does not come from the sponsorship; it comes from just this legitimately being a stunning game and the excitement around that they would try this hard.
Again, kid approved. You heard it here.
Absolutely. Now, moving on to what the Switch is known for is being very good for playing on the go. And recently, Jeff and myself both had trips. And I thought it would be a nice little segment where it's like, oh, what did you play while traveling?
Right.
And what did you play while traveling, Jeff?
I played zero things.
Not a damn thing. You didn't
I
play
played
it.
waiting in the airport. That's what I played.
We missed a recording. It's like, we're both traveling. Let's not do it this week. And I'm like, you know what's going to be a great segment?
Right.
It's like, hey, Dad, travel games. Like, what do you got? Like, what were you doing? What were your kids doing? Travel games. Jeff comes back. No, I'm a purist when I travel. It's like, I like to enjoy where I am, not...
Taking the sights, Trevor. Whoa, what were you doing?
Yeah, playing Darkest Dungeon. But I will get back to you on that. Walk me through that. Was that a super conscious, you know what? I don't want devices. I want to disconnect. Or was it more of a, I can't be bothered to bring my Steam Deck and just, there's enough craziness going on with travel. What happened, Jeff?
It was a little bit of both. Do I want to pack my Steam Deck? Do I want to worry about it? Do I want to like lug it to the airport and I don't know, have it on me? I will say I regret not taking it on the flight
Okay.
because I didn't realize how long the flight would be and what I would be stuck with. And I thought I'd read a book or something, but that went out the window pretty fast. So I think I would have liked it on the flight, but in the location itself, I'm glad I didn't take it just because it wasn't there to, like, hey, come play me, Jeff. Why don't you come play? So
Forget
I didn't have that kind of, like calling to me at all. So I will say I would have appreciated in the airport and the waiting. Yeah, I think it would have been easy.
Now, what was that? I'd like to focus on you, but like your kids, did they have any gaming systems? Were they also game free?
Oh no, they had gaming systems, and we had a conversation about that because they brought their laptops over to grandma's, and we have time limits on them through the Microsoft Family Safety app. So we set up schedules, and they have like so many hours per day, right?
Okay, so just real quick, so you traveled, your kids stayed home.
Yes. Sorry.
Oh,
yes.
okay, sorry. I was trying to like do the math. I'm like, so they slightly different. I was wondering if they had it for the traveling, but
No.
Okay, so now they take their systems to grandma's.
They took it to grandma's, and grandma is, trying to be cool grandma. Of
course.
And lets them stay up at way too late on school nights. They had school nights. They didn't get away from school, so they had, 9:30 on a school night, which is way too late for them. Yeah. But we were getting warnings on the app saying that they've reached their time limits, and then they're pinging us to try and add time to it. I'm like, you should be in bed. I know what time it is back at home. So like, you're kind of selling yourself out here. You're selling grandma out too, because she's trying to give you some time. And again, it's kind of vacation.
Think of the calculus on that. It's like, okay, I'm up way past my bedtime on a school night.
Yeah.
And I've overused my laptop time on a school night.
Yeah.
However, I'm going to roll the dice and I'm going to message old dad and see if maybe he'll just let this one slip or not, or he'll be in such a daze that he's not going to think about it. That is a bold choice.
It's manipulation. I'm telling you. They're like, oh, dad's on vacation. Dad and mom will totally give it to me because, why wouldn't they want me to, be fine? And we miss you so much, right? Like that kind of stuff. So no, we did not end up getting them game time, but it was one of those things where they every day would ask. I'm like, no, 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 we're gonna have a conversation when we get home about this. Like on the airplane, when I don't have Wi-Fi or cell signal, I get back into the airport and I have 20 messages saying they want extra time on the computer. Anyway, they had game time. I did not. I'm sure you did, or it sounds like you did. Maybe you're like more like my kids and had a whole bunch of
Yeah, I was
hours to
pinging
play.
I was pinging my wife like, "Hey, one more game time. Come on."
Yeah.
No, so it was a couple of flights here and there and just some hotel time besides. And what I ended up with was Darkest Dungeon of anything. Like it is a title that sat on my iPad for a crazy amount of times. And I'm on the plane and doesn't need a connection. Like it's just a full game, like totally on your system. So it's great. And so dipped in. It's very difficult.
Okay.
It is a very hard game. Pretty unforgiving to beginners. They're not really holding your hand very much as to what you're supposed to do. It's got a fantastic loop. Like it really draws you in, like the world and the story and everything. Well, story not so much. Like the world, the management of it. Like your heroes will die. You cannot really get attached to them. So, so it's fantastic. It was nice to dip into something I had that I hadn't touched before. And it was like, okay, let's give this one a spin. Well, now I was gonna say what that. Given its visuals, it's kind of hard. Like I'm generally traveling for professional reasons, and I'm trying to
Okay.
like dress up to do the part. And there's just something I don't know why I'm self conscious. I got past it. I got over myself, but there's just something about being like bringing out your iPad and playing this game, which is like gory and dark, and just it kind of looks juvenile in a sense. As far as like its depiction of people, it's like
Yeah.
this guy's got a cloak and like 6 chains and like a skull. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's slightly juvenile looking in that way, and it's dark and gritty and bloody. And I'm on a plane. I'm just sitting beside normal people, and I'm like, and then I'm gonna change my shadow attack, and I'm gonna go over this way. There's just you just feel kind of juvenile to be like playing games sometimes in public. I don't know. As I said, I got over myself. It's also like I don't know this person. I don't care what they think about me. I'd like to have a great time, and this is totally fine. So I arrived where I was supposed to, but there's always those nagging doubts. I don't know if you still get those sometimes, being a adult who games.
I mean, you would be sitting beside me on the airplane, and I'd be trying to read my book and probably looking over like, "Hey, what's that game? I wish I should have. I wish I brought my Steam Deck."
I thought you were gonna shame me, like, oh,
No, no,
still
no.
playing games, eh? As
No,
he flips
no, no.
a page to like War and Peace.
I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that game's terrible." No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I see what you mean. Like, I don't think I could ever play it on like a bus or anything, or even a train. Airplane, I think, is fair game. I think there are movies and Netflix and whatever, and they're watching the in-flight movie. Who cares if I game? So I have no shame there, but I will have shame in like other places that seem weird, like a doctor's office, like things where you're only there for maybe 30 minutes. Doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on what. I remember once there was, God, what it was the PSP. It is back way back, and I had a PSP and I had some number of systems, and I was going to and from work. I had like some hour and a half commute, both ways. It was ridiculous, and I would read a lot and I'd play like a PSP. And there's just something specifically about sitting on the bus for an hour and a half wearing like my dress suit, like my dress shirt and my pants, like playing Final Fantasy on my PSP. And just, I was so compelled to do it.
Right.
I so badly wanted to play this game, but then I'm a new young working professional. I'm not sure that like this is really a good look. Like,
As long as you're not playing it at work during that business meeting or whatever you're doing.
yeah, playing
Right.
it at the job, that'd be great.
Right.
And about the third quarter, doot.
Hold on, I have to dodge like 1,000 lightning crashes in Final Fantasy X.
Yeah.
I'm almost there.
Oh Lord. Hey, gaming dads, do you have some embarrassment playing games in public? Do you have dad recommendations for when you go traveling? What game is there a game that you like to play? Reach out to us, newdadgaming.com or newdadgaming at newdadgaming on Twitter. Now the fact I came across this one because I was scrolling through my iPad while in airplane mode, and it's like, all right, well, what could I play? What could I do to pass some time? And this one happened to be there. and kind of got me thinking about the games we haven't played, the games that we did miss. And before we talked in the show, you and I like quickly went to. You recently had the experience I want to talk about, where you went into the App Store to see all the old games you actually owned. To counter it, I went over to Steam, and it turns out I have 222 games in my Steam library.
Can we just let everybody know that doubles what I have in my library? So
I'm surprised.
almost triples.
This is Humble Bundle. This is good old game sales. This is some Amazon Prime, like they give away games now. That usually goes to Prime Gaming. This is Steam Summer Sale, where you'd be grabbing some of these things for like $1. It's like, oh, I'll play this one day eventually. And the best part about this screen that just sums up dad life is like all games, 222. There's another tab lifted, perfect games, games that you perfected, 0. Like, not a one. There's not a single game I have played to perfect completion. And then lastly is like the other sad one, which was like my case in the last couple of weeks, is recently played. Also 0.
Zero. Big zero there.
Like, oh. So you own so little, so water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. Yeah, we're rolling through this. This was just embarrassing as far as games. So what did you find in your list of games that you hadn't played?
Yeah, so on my like I was going through my mobile app store just to see what else I had purchased along the way, and I apparently own the entire GTA trilogy, like the original Vice City and San Andreas, and I'm like, okay, I don't know when that happened or why I have it, but it's there, and I could download it and probably play 5 minutes and be done with it. But it's like one of those things where you scroll back in time, like you were saying, and either you have no memory of these things or you caught up in a sale. I think I have some of the Final Fantasy ones too. Mm-hmm. And I for sure bought those. But it's like one of those things where you buy it, you set it on a shelf. You set it on your digital shelf. You're like, I'll get to it one day. And then life happens, kids happen, whatever else happens, or you get a game from Nintendo. But things happen, and you put it away, gone from memory. And I think we were saying before the show is that we don't actually have to buy any other new game ever again. We could just live on our backlog until, the end of our life. We
die. We would not. We could attempt to play every game in our backlog, and I don't think we have enough time left in our lives to do it.
I don't think so. There's a lot of big games in there, so yeah, we could totally do that. But that's not going to happen. Let's be honest.
What fun is that?
That's not. We want to be hip with the times, get the new games. Talk about the new Spider-Man 2s and all this stuff.
I would like to hear it. So if any gaming dads, man, we have the one gaming dad. This dad's Platinum Journey.
Yes.
Now, he mostly seems to do it on PlayStation, but I'd be kind of curious to see how many perfect games he's managed to rack up. But I'd be curious to listen to some. I'd be curious to hear from some listeners, and we can mention names next show of how many games do you have in your Steam library. So Jeff's got 90. I have 222. Does anyone have like 10? Does anybody have like 500? Like, where are we at? Reach out to us at New Dad Gaming, newdadgaming.com. Get entirely off of digital here for a second.
Okay.
Hard turn here. I wanted to mention this came up in our house, and it was fantastic. Both my sons will draw. They like to draw occasionally, but they'll kind of do it like in spurts and fits.
Yep.
What's really turned them back onto it was my wife's discovery of a YouTube channel. So this in specific is Art for Kids Hub. Art for Kids Hub. Very simple, very calm channel. All it is that an artist father, draws any number of things. So currently he's kind of on a Halloween bent, but he'll do like Christmas, or he'll do like Sonic and other characters like that. And he's a pretty good artist. It's not like, I'm sure he can do some really fantastic stuff, but he keeps it fairly basic but good looking art pieces. And he shows line by line, and then on the same paper right beside him he has his kid follow along. Okay, draw a line here, draw a line here. So what's kind of nice is that you see his great version, but then you also see the kid's kind of good attempt, right? So maybe your kid won't be intimidated by it. And they've done now like 10 in a row following this guy. They did like a zombie, they did a Grim Reaper, they did like all these amazing things. So my wall is littered with new drawings from all these kids. And it was just to see the interaction. And again, it's one of those fantastic ones where you find a YouTube channel that is not somebody yelling at the screen and chasing.
Yeah.
This is just a calm, like, and like kind of friendly and fun. He's just a nice guy, and he's doing some cool art. And the way he brings the kids through in a simple way to ultimately end up at a cool looking bit of art. Awesome.
Great. Yeah, no, that's a good recommendation. And I like how, like you're showing on screen, it's side by side. Because usually it's just like the artist shows the stuff. And then my kids might get a little frustrated and like, my drawing doesn't look like that. Right. And it's kind of good to see, the kids' version with the artist versions. Just show, you are learning, you can make mistakes, and you ends up being like a cool own character that you've made.
Yeah.
So that's a good recommendation. I like that.
Yeah, chill, another YouTube thing, and just get your kids in the drawing. Is that we thought we'd get them to do one or two, and it's been nonstop. They got back from school today, wanted to do more drawings. So
Perfect.
yeah, so I wanted to throw that out there. So that is the channel specifically is Art for Kids Hub, and that's on YouTube. Big shout out. It is just fantastic. I wanted to give that out to dads as a resource.
Nice.
And just wrapping it up for the week, I've been a bit all over the place with gaming. So, like
Darkest Dungeon, and we're on to what?
Diablo 4 Season 2.
Oh my god, you went back. Okay.
Yeah, so I was really enjoying Starfield, took a Starfield break. I'd like to keep playing at some point, but just didn't feel like it at the moment. And I think with limited dad time, I've given myself permission to sort of just let my gaming wants wander.
Yep.
And it's like, they just released Season 2. So got in. It's same for myself. I didn't really understand a lot of the backlash and hatred, but because I'm not a high tier player with ultimate end game content, like I can't really speak to that experience. I liked it. Seemed kind of fun. It was good. Season 2, very much so. Therefore, for me, Season 2, very much the same thing. High quality, cool story, lots of great assets, like new interesting vampire powers. Now, there was an offline tie-in they did, where if you donate blood in real life, they'll give you in-game stuff. Did you see this one?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it might be only in the US, but there was to get people to donate more blood. It's like, hey, if you want to get some Diablo 4 things, go to your local blood bank and donate blood, and you'll get currency.
That is genius. I like
That's
those. Good. Like, kind of, is that a microtransaction, or I don't know what you call that. Like, I have to give blood. I'm literally paying with my life to get this in-game costume or whatever it may be.
Real life transaction. Oh my lord.
Yeah.
God, there's got to be a good name for that. That is hilarious. But but it's great.
It's a good idea.
I'm enjoying the bigger point that I did take is thus far, it does seem that they have made some improvements, which is good to see. In that the Reddit for Diablo, which I take as one of my gauges, has turned relatively positive. It's like, sounds like they listened to us and they put in some good stuff, and this is kind of interesting. Cool, that's good to hear. The Twitch numbers are back up. People actually streaming it. So ideally, like from first season to second, they've listened a bunch, improved it. And if they're going to do this type of always on live service type game, like hopefully as part of the benefit of that is responding to the community and making things better.
Absolutely. And maybe the next one, you donate hair and you get something in game as well, or
cut your hair for charity and get like special hair, rainbow hair on your horse.
Honestly, that is such a good idea. I'm glad because it helps others like in real life, and yeah, sure they get something out of it, whatever. But no, that's good. That's good. I'm glad you got back into it too, because I think it hangs above you. I find like it just you're so excited, and then it kind of like slid down a cliff, and then you got back on. So it's good.
Then I blasted off into space, and I've come back down to hell. So we'll
that's right.
I did see they had a promotion going on where it was like $20 off.
Oh, we're getting to my price.
As I was going to say, it was like, how close are we to Jeff's like jump in price? I was wondering.
We have Black Friday and Christmas coming up, and it's $20 off now. I mean, we could get close.
All right, fingers crossed. Unless much like Nintendo, we strike up a deal with Activision Blizzard.
Why not? Didn't they buy them for like $68 billion? So like Microsoft, you could just throw us a couple codes.
Help a new dad out.
Come on.
Hey, we'll say this: it is no Super Mario Wonder.
That's
can I
right.
tell you? All right, everybody, that will wrap it up there for the show. Thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you like the show, you can find us on all the major podcasting networks. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google Play, Caster, anywhere where you get your podcast. Just search for New Dad Gaming. If you want to reach out to us, if you have a Steam collection you want to mention, if you're loving Diablo 4, if you're hating Diablo 4, do you have a travel game? Do you have your own thoughts on Super Mario Wonder? Any of the topics, anything else on your mind as a gaming dad, we love to hear you. We'd love to feature your story. Reach out to us at New Dad Gaming on Twitter or newdadgaming.com. Now, if you do happen to go over to any of the podcasting services, what would really help out the show, if we might ask, would be to subscribe. So subscribing helps boost the number, gets it out there, and especially if you can leave a review and a comment, that really does help us out, boost the signal, gets us out there to as many gaming dads as possible. Everyone, thank you so much for listening once again. My name is Trevor, and I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old.
And I'm Jeff, full of wonder, and I have a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old.
And some blood, and full of wonder and full of blood for some transactions, buddy. Come on,
that's
let's
right.
go.
There you go.
Just remember, just because he became a dad
Does not mean it's game over.
All right. See you next week.
See ya.